Rebecca Tabbert here, and I'm going to talk with you today about training programs, the right workout to fit your goal specifically, my first CrossFit competition, but you'll have to wait to hear more about that. And people have asked me what goes into my training program because you see me doing a lot of crazy things. So we'll talk about all of that. But before I get to that, to give you some hope, to give you some encouragement, to give you some inspiration, I'm going to tell you a very quick synopsis of my story and where I'm coming from. See, I'm now 41, almost 42 years old, and I am in the best shape of my life. It wasn't always this way. In fact, my son is standing behind the camera and shooting today. He's now 16 years old, but when I was pregnant with him, I gained over 65 pounds on this 5'1" frame. And the reason for that was my own choices. As big as he was at 8 pounds, 9 ounces and 4 weeks early, he was still not the problem. I was over 65 pounds overweight. I had made myself borderline diabetic. And the challenge was, after I had Dante, I didn't just lose the weight. I held on to it because I had developed this very poor association with food. It became my comfort, my stress reliever, my go-to source. And so I really battled that for a good year and a half, almost 2 years after I had my son. Even developed an eating disorder during that time. So I went through a lot, but I finally hit my rock bottom and decided enough is enough, because I was hiding behind the camera. I was hiding from having to go to the pool, having to go to the beach. I hated shopping. I was in love with overalls because they were in style at the time, and I could try and look cute and pretend like everything was okay, but I really was having a hard time and really dealing with a depression, not knowing that I wasn't at my best. And I finally realized that as good as I thought I had it all together at the time, now I was a single mom by the time I was about a year and a half old, it seemed like it was all together and I was powering through and I was, the super mom, right? But as strong as I thought I really was working from a state of weakness. I was mentally weak, I was fatigued, I wasn't my best. And I realized that if I could change that, and I could truly get healthy from the inside out, not just for me, but for my son and for the quality of our life, then I could truly make a difference and be even that much stronger and that much better of a mom, worker, friend, all of that. And so that's what I did. So over the next about 18 months, I totally focused on my nutrition and my workouts, did a lot of self-study, reached out to tons of resources online, got in the gym, figured out what worked, what didn't work. I even did the home videotapes to begin with. And at one point I did hire a trainer. I ended up jumping into, I'll say, a fitness competition, a figure competition, because I wanted to prove to myself that I could go from being that insecure person to standing on stage in front of a bunch of people being judged by what my physique looked like. And it wasn't so much about their opinion, it was proving to myself that I could do that I could build the confidence to get out there and make that happen. So now fast forward, I'm horrible with timing, but I want to say it was about 6 years ago. I'm a huge person of faith and I can't tell my story without it. That's really what got me through, and I started to feel this passion, not just for myself, but for really helping other people, women especially, who were just like me, maybe just like you, that were at a place of not feeling good about themselves, not being the best, using food as a comfort, and helping them be encouraged, motivated, inspired to get in and get started, and then given the right tools to do that. So I started getting certifications in personal training and nutrition. Now I've got tons of them, but the certifications aren't, you wouldn't even know the initials if I told you, right? The point is I've now been very blessed to work with hundreds of people over the last 6 years. And I say we've created this amazing environment in our 2 Fit Body Bootcamp locations as part of our overall fitness business. And within Fit Body Bootcamp, I have an amazing team. I could not be doing it without them. And it comes down to the programming. The goal going into the types of workouts that might work best for you based on your goals. Our goal within Fit Body Bootcamp is to help that person, we work with men too, to help that person that is needing to lose that extra body fat, that is wanting to get healthy from the inside out. And so the best way to lose that, based on over a decade of research, is to do high intensity interval training. So that is the style of workout that is within our Fit Body Bootcamp program. Now, high intensity interval training workouts are, we take it to a pretty good rate of exertion and then almost to max. Bring it down a little bit and then almost to max. And we're there encouraging you, giving you modifications. You're gonna be pushed to your best effort for that given day, right? And it's good for all fitness levels, whether you're just starting out or you need to be challenged or you need to change things up. Our coaches are fantastic about making that happen for you. And the reason we do the high intensity interval training is because that decade of research I was talking, now over a decade that I was talking about, shows that when you work in that modality, you're actually increasing your base metabolism, not just while you're there and training with us, but it stays elevated for the next average is 36 hours after the workout. And that is major transformation when you apply consistency over time, right? Now, with that high intensity interval workout, our overall program includes nutrition and mindset coaching, because it's so important to work on how we think and how the choices we make, the habits we build. So all of that is included in our program. So if you're the type of person that wants to lose some extra body fat, or change the way your body looks, you could weigh 120 pounds and still have a lot of body fat. It's called skinny fat. And body fat attracts disease. And so that's another reason why I'm so passionate about really helping people transform. Now, another style of workout would be more of an endurance-based workout, because high-intensity interval training is 30 minutes or less. It's got to be 30 minutes or less to follow the science that says this is what works best for fat loss. Now, endurance training is when you're doing a longer workout. Let's say maybe you're doing running, or you're doing some sort of prolonged workout because you're getting ready for an event maybe. Like you want to do a half marathon, or we do the Tough Mudders, or the Spartan races that we do, the longer Spartan races that we do. You can't go from just doing high intensity interval workouts to taking on an event that might be an hour and a half, 2, 3, 4 hours long, right? You've got to build in endurance workouts into your overall training program. Now, if you want to be a runner, or you've kind of thought about maybe you want to do a 5K or a 10K, we've actually recently incorporated that as part of our program for those that want to take on that challenge, because part of our program is getting people out and getting them active and helping them be encouraged to take on new things, new challenges, constantly get out of your comfort zone. And high intensity interval training is a really great way to cross-train when you are a runner, or when you want to become a runner, or when you just want to mark it off your bucket list, all right? Now, another type of training is more the, I call it old school, but more lifting type, where you're focused on heavier weights, lower repetitions, because you want to put on muscle mass. This is done, obviously a lot of men train that way. They want to be bigger. Figure competitors, bikini competitors, you want to get in that training program, and those types of workouts, you want to include that in your training program. And those types of workouts really should only be in the weight room for about 45 minutes at a time. And you're focusing on specific muscle groups, and you're focusing on, like I said, heavier weights, lower reps. Now, the goal with that is totally different, and that program that you would build around that goal will look differently. Now, to answer your question, I have had people ask me, because they know, that I've done the I've been a figure competitor. I don't see myself doing it again, but you never know. Maybe I'll go back next year. I've got some other goals we'll talk about in a second for this year, but I don't do the coaching for it. I've worked with some of the best in figure competing, and I'm super excited and proud to have been a part of their training element. I learn from every coach I go to see, and I'd be happy to refer you. I know a couple people locally that I would completely trust as well. So if that's something you're interested in doing, I'm not necessarily the solution, because what I choose to help people on is the fat loss, but I will get you a solution. Another type of training is CrossFit. Now, CrossFit has come about, and they will tell you that it's functional fitness. CrossFit there's an element of CrossFit that is Olympic weightlifting. There's an element of CrossFit that is more the gymnastics, and I'm sure they have, I don't have a lot of experiential knowledge, so I'm not going to try and speak for the CrossFit world. But what I do think CrossFit is a good fit for, and if you come to me today, in fact, I had a couple people over the last couple months, they're at their body fat that they want to be at, they're healthy, they're strong, they've completely transformed their bodies, and they are more competitive. They want to put on muscle size, they want to get more into it, and so CrossFit is the right fit for you. If you're super competitive and you want to learn how to lift heavier. Now, how I ended up at CrossFit, I did try CrossFit a couple of years ago, and it just wasn't for me. I was still doing bigger competitions. It didn't fit into my training program. And even now, am I a CrossFitter? I don't think so. Is it my total program? Definitely not. Do I see it being everything I do? No. But how it came about is one of my goals for this year is to learn the Olympic lifting. And it's just something not being an old school bodybuilder, I really don't have any experience with the Olympic lifting. So I went to a CrossFit for a friend. My best friend Sam, I've known him for 20 years. He's an amazing guy, and he came to boot camp and he lost 20 pounds, which is awesome, but he's definitely more the competitive, wants to lift heavy, wants to put on the muscle size, but not necessarily self-motivated to go to the gym by himself, not at this point in time anyway. So it was on my heart that CrossFit would probably be a good fit for him. I found one down in Hemet that's close to him, and my goal was just to get him there and get him started. So I contacted Renatus, and Josh, thanks for letting me be a part of it. I told him exactly who I was and what my goal was, and after doing a couple sessions, I thought, I think I want to try this for a while, because what it gives me is the ability to get those Olympic lifts in, to grow stronger in some of my core lifts with coaches that can tweak my technique and help me ultimately be stronger. Now, that was the original intent of me staying. Now it's become that I've realized I definitely am more competitive than I thought I was, and that's how this first CrossFit competition today came about. Is it part of my training program? Yes. Is it my whole training program? No. My training program consists of 4 to 5 days of high intensity interval training, usually 5 days. I schedule 5 days. I have one day that I consider flexible. So I have 5 days of high intensity interval training. I try and get in 3 runs a week, and one of those being a longer run. I also get in a day, right now it's a day of an endurance workout. So a workout where I'm out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It'll be a combination of strength and lifting, and then about 3 days of CrossFit. That's my complete training program, because my goal this year is to do well at the Spartan Ultra Beast, which is 24 miles in Tahoe Mountains and over 50 obstacles, right? So my total training program is pretty expansive, but this is the thing, you don't have to do that. I do want to tell you, you can do anything. I'm over 41, almost 42, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm not the leanest I've been, having been a figure competitor, but I am in the best shape that I'm in. Does that make sense? And for you, just start where you're at. If your goal is to lose extra body fat, focus on those high intensity interval training sessions. It happens to be super convenient because it's got to be 30 minutes or less to be convenient. And of course, we would love to have you be in our program. Now, if you want to do more than that, like some of our boot campers have recently taken on, and they want to do a 5K, a 10K, they want to get into running to mark it off their bucket list. I'm very honest and have shared my story that I'm so not a runner, but I've started to choose to run because it's a means to my goal of these Spartan races. Make sense? So if you have time to add on, then add in some running, add in some endurance, or add in some sprints. That's another way to get some high intensity interval training in. If you're, for all my CrossFit friends, I apologize, but I do feel like it's just on my conscience, I've got to share what I believe is that CrossFit still, I do not think that it is for everyone. There are a lot of injuries in CrossFit. I've already been injured. That is how I messed up my elbow a few weeks ago. Thank you so much to everyone that has helped me heal from that. That was honestly the worst injury I've ever had. The point being that yes, you can get injured stepping off a curb. You can get injured at any point in time. It does matter the environment you're in. It does matter the coaches that you have, but you can have the best of the best coaches. You're lifting a lot of heavy weight, and a lot of times you're doing it for reps under time if you're not focused on the strength competitive. within the CrossFit environment. So that kind of sets you up to be at higher risk for injury. It just is what it is. So in my opinion, I think that it is best suited for someone who is already pretty conditioned physically and ready to go and loves that competitive aspect of it. Does that make sense? And so that is when that is a good fit. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not the best solution for fat loss, but it does fit a certain goal. So I hope that answers your questions and the different types of workouts, how you got to work those in to create your training program that works best for you. And then, of course, on top of that, nutrition is 80% of how we look and feel. That's why we include it in our Fit Body Bootcamp programs. And overlaying all of that is your thought process and what you think to be true about yourself, others, and the world around us. So make sure you're working on that too, and I'll talk to you more about that. Stay tuned for future training programs as I bring to you, so that you can do at home, different training programs to meet different goals. Be on the lookout for that. If you're interested in learning how to lift on the gym on your own, if you're interested in how to integrate this high intensity interval training with some more endurance training, we'll be doing those types of programs later this year too. So within the next 6 months, expect to see some home programs. Shoot me an email if you're interested in being on that list. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.